which actually in reality we said that it teaches us a methodology of acquiring Maqam Mahmud. That methodology is very important. The du'as have methodology, the ziyarat have methodology, and the Quran have methodology for us to reach higher stations. That's why the Prophet says that the levels of the Jannah is based upon the Quran. Iqra wa warqa, recite and go higher. The more we recite Quran, the higher we will go in the hereafter. Tonight and tomorrow night, what I would like to reflect upon is the value of justice in the uprising of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. The phenomena of justice, which becomes one of the principles of Shia school of thought. The emphasis of justice that is in the Shia school is not in any other school. There's a peculiar and particular reason for that. We have Tawheed and then we have Adl. The importance of justice that is emphasized. The champion of that justice is Amirul Mu'mineen, who's been known to be the voice of human justice, which is written by George Jordak, the Christian scholar from Lebanon, echoes that how valuable justice was to Amirul Mu'mineen. Because it is Amirul Mu'mineen and the Shias of Amirul Mu'mineen who have suffered from the oppression, which makes them to uphold justice. That's why it becomes one of the tenets of our faith, adl and justice. In the course of history, it is the followers of Ahl Bayt alayhimus salam who have always been oppressed. Wherever there is oppression, it means there is no justice. These two things cannot be together. Either it is oppression or it is justice. Either it is zulm or adalat. If there is zulm, there will be no adalat. If there is adalat, there will be no zulm. So we are the people of justice. We are the people of adl. And in the uprising of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, it is very clear that his uprising was for one of the major fact that his uprising was for the establishment of this principle of justice. Because it was very clear that there is open oppression against Ahl Bayt, against Islam. People, when Muawiyah, understanding, knowing, and even it's been recorded that I wish you were not my son, he tells to Yazid. But still, when he's about to die, he appoints Yazid as his successor. Where in the pact, where in the soul of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he has clearly mentioned that after I die, the Khilafat will go to Hassan, or if Hassan is not there, to Hussein. It was very clear. He not only trespasses, he not only breaks this rule in the pact, but he has broken many before as well. And this was the nail in the coffin of breaking the pact that he had made with Imam Hassan Mujtaba, which is the Sule Imam Hassan. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. So here Imam Hussein alayhi salam have continuously showed in his uprising the value and the importance of justice. In order to reflect on this phenomena of justice, it is very much required that we have a preliminary discussion in regards to the cosmic reality of war and peace, because there was a battle of Karbala. There was a war. The war was a means for establishing justice. So we first need to understand the cosmic reality of these two phenomena, which is war and justice. When we reflect in the metaphysical realm, in the spiritual realm, there is no such thing as war. There is nothing but salam in the realm of metaphysics, in the realm of spirit.
There is no evil angels and good angels fighting with each other. No, they are all nothing but good in barzakh. There's nothing but good in Jannah. There's always peace. Anta salam wa ilayka salam wa ilayka ya'udu salam. Allah is salam and salam is from Allah and salam returns back to Allah. So in the realm of barzakh, in the realm of hereafter in Jannah, there's nothing but peace. War belongs to this realm. War belongs to this world. The reason why war belongs to this world is because of its nature. In the material world, there will always be conflicts. Because there are conflicts in the material world, it is natural to have war for progress, for development. So war is only related to this world. That is the reality of war, to the material world. It is related to the mulk. It's not related to the malakut, or it's not related to the jabarut. If we divide, the Islamic cosmology of the creation is divided into these three folds, or actually four folds, where you have, the Zat Ilahi, then you have the Jabarut of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is known to be the Asma of Allah, which is known to be the names of Allah, all of these 99 names that we take. When it descends down from that level of Jabarut, it becomes to the level of Malakut, which is the angelic realm. So that very name, which is Mumit, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, becomes Malakul Maut. The watered down version of Mumit is nothing but Malakul Maut. And the watered down version of Malakul Maut is nothing but, when it comes to this world, is Maut. So it's one reality. So these are the four different levels of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In parallel to this as well, it's been described as, for example, the world of spirits, the world of angels, the world of spirits, the world of barzakh, and the world of mulk. We really don't want to get into the cosmological understanding of the creation. We just want to reflect upon the cosmological reality of war and peace. So in this world, because it is the material world, we will always have war. We will always have conflict. And even here, war is a relative reality. Because at a given time, there will be two staunch enemies of each other, but we will find that these two enemies become the best of the friends. For example, Hur. Hur was against Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Hur was even ready to fight with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. There was war there. But it was relative. It changed, where Hur and Imam Hussein becomes the best friends. So therefore, war, even in this world, have a relative reality. Right? So it is very important to understand this. The only difference that makes a war the only difference that makes a war to be divine or to be purposeful is based on its methodology, because war is war. If Ali is fighting, he is also killing. That's why he was known to be the furious to the aristocrats of the Arabs, of the Jahiliyyah. They hated him. Why? Because he kills and he fights and he's the best fighter. So it's still a war. So regardless of this sword, of this war, be from from evil side or be from the awliya side, is still a war. The same way, the reality of existence, the reality of life, the reality of the material reality that dominates, that governs awliya, it also governs the ashqiya, the evil people as well. The evil people also will drink water and their thirst will be quenched. The awliya also will drink water and the quench will be thirst. They will get hungry, they will get hungry as well. So therefore, war have one reality. But what makes the difference in the war is the methodology and the purpose. The methodology and the purpose of the awliya is for the establishment of rahmah, is for the establishment of justice. It is for the divine purpose. But the methodology and the purpose of the ashqiya, of the evil people, is for capital, is for power, is for ego, is for themselves. The evil dynasties and the kingdoms invite people towards themselves. But the awliya and anbiya doesn't invite them towards themselves, but they invite towards Allah. Hussein is saying, this is my purpose, this is why I'm doing qiyam, come with me. And even in order, as an ihtiyat, look at the subtle spirituality or the purity of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Very latif. You know, Imam Hussein's invite everybody, and on the night of Ashura, he says, go. You have fulfilled what I really wanted from you. And he even guarantees the hereafter, that Jannah is for you, I have taken my bayat from you, and I guarantee you the shafaat of Rasulullah, leave. The path to leave me is open, but the path to coming to me is closed. So nobody will kill you, nobody will bother you. Take the hand of your women and children and go. So Imam Hussein alayhi salam is making a point. He's pointing out to that reality, that methodology, that awliya and anbiya, there is no longer their nafs, but rather it is the deen, but rather is the Quran. We die because Imam Hussein clearly mentioned that we will be killed. And I know the place where I will be buried, and no one else will be buried there. They will slay our body. They will destroy our body. But what they will not destroy is for the haqq that we stand for. So the purpose and methodology of Anbiya and Awliya is for the establishment of the truth and haqq. Is for the establishment of that mercy. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So there will always be a conflict in the realm of creation. Now, as we said, the conflict stems out from the reality of conflict, which is war, is because of that very material nature itself. You know, people, just in the margin, from a theological perspective, people tend to criticize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for not being just. Allah is not just. Why? Because there is, you know, earthquakes. And why? Because there is evil. Therefore, there is no justice. The creation, the material world, it has been created in that fashion. The matter would definitely have a shadow. There will be always a dark side towards the matter. That's how it's been created. So there's no question of being unjust. That's how things have been created, for a higher purpose. There's a reason and hikmat and wisdom behind it. You know, the story of the farmer, that there was this farmer and his son goes out and he broke his leg and he comes home. The farmer started crying and complaining, what is this and what is not. Next day the king's army comes and he says, we want to have reserve. You know, he was in reserve, we want to take him to war. So the farmer said, well, his leg is broken, he cannot come. Right? So everything happens for a wisdom and for a purpose. So Allah have created the creation in this fashion. Just on a different note, as we have spoken about the cosmological reality of things, you know, the Zat and the Jabarut, the Malakut and the Mulk, for that Zat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for that Jabarut wa Malakut of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in order to come to this world, it is very much required that we have this material world. So that, as we said, Anta Salam, so that when that Salam journeys, so that when that manifestation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala journeys through this world, it has to journey through particularities. Through these particularities that we see, water, table, we come to the realization of a higher form of knowledge. Through this particularities, through this material world, we come to the realization of a higher form of knowledge which was already given to us. That's how Plato describes the Platonic ideas, the philosophy of knowledge, is that we are recollecting in this world. We have already learned somewhere. The reason why we learn in this world is because it's just a recollection of it, which is very similar to the Illuminist Ishraqi philosophy that the world of Qalu Bala, we were in that spiritual realm, in that spiritual world, all the knowledge was given to us. We come to this world and we forget, and then we remember and we recollect and we go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this material world has a purpose. Yes, outwardly speaking, one may be critical of, oh, what is this? But there's something very deeper reality to it. Salat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. I don't want to get into the theological discussion of justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now there will always be conflict, as we said. And this is been mentioned in the Quran, like for example, as we were speaking about the methodology of the tyrants. When the army of Suleiman was going, the ants, they started speaking to each other. And they said to each other that, kings invade a land, they ruin it and debase its nobles, they really do so. This is in chapter 27:34. As the ants, they spoke to each other, the army of Suleiman is coming, go back, let's go back to our houses. Why? Because the kings, that's how they are. They debase, they kill. Then Suleiman speaks to that ant. He says, I'm Suleiman. I'm not that king which you're thinking. And asks the army to be careful of the ants. This is justice. So there will always be a conflict. Even the creatures have realized that these kings are tyrants. These kings are those who usurp the land. But at the same time, you have the Anbiya and Awliya who have a different purpose. For example, in another verse it says that, and when they leave you, they strive throughout to spread mischief in it and destroy crops and cattle. Allah does not like the mischief. This is in verse number 205 of Surah Baqarah. That's how the Taghut, that's how the Fir'aun and Namrud and all of these people, the kings who were, that's how they carry themselves. So there will always be conflict, as we are talking about the war and peace. In Karbala, there was a war. There was a conflict. Now, as their methodology and as their purpose different to each other, the purpose of the Anbiya and Awliya is to uphold that justice, is to establish that justice. That's why in Surah Hadid, we recite, وَأَقِيمُ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, in verse number 25, indeed we sent our messengers. Allah is saying we sent our messengers with clear signs, with ayat, and sent down with them the book, wal kitab, and a balance, wal mizan, for what? What's the purpose of that? Wa aqimun nasu bil qist, so that the people may uphold justice. So the Anbiya and Awliya, the Anbiya are just the facilitators to establish justice. They will come and invite you to establish justice. They themselves will not establish justice as such. They will be needing that support from the people to establish justice. The Masumin alayhi salam, Imam Hussain did qiyam. After that, the Masumin alayhi salam, they vouched for justice, they spoke for justice, but there were nobody to support Imam Hussain alayhi salam for justice. That's why Imam Hussain alayhi salam said that the companions I had, not my brother, not my father. There were a lot, 72 and more, for which Imam Hussain alayhi salam managed to establish that school and revive that school of justice with his sacrifice. So the Quran says the Anbiya and the Prophets are there so that the people uphold justice. So the responsibility lies on us. That's why we ask, oh Imam, come soon, so that we support you. Support you for what? Support you that you establish justice. is for the establishment of the justice. Why? Because justice is very important. Why? Because Allah is just, and the essential quality, the essential reality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if there is tawheed against polytheism, if there is tawheed against shirk, if tawheed needs to exist, if tawheed should be governed, then there should be justice. There's no justice, there's no tawheed without justice being there. Justice must be there if the tawheed must, in order to be there. So the 12th Imam is somebody who represents that justice, and how it will be established by the support of the people. So the Battle of Karbala is a lesson for us, is a vehicle and a medium for us to remind us that even if we have to give our lives, when the 12th Imam comes, as we spoke about the parallel of two Safina-e-Nijat, the 12th Imam is Safina-e-Nijat and also Imam Hussein is Safina-e-Nijat. They are very similar. They will both uprise. They will have conflict. They will have a war. Imam Hussein fought, and the 12th Imam also will fight. And therefore, the same way as Hussein had those type of companions, the 12th Imam also need those type of companions. Which type of companions? Those who have reached to Maqam Mahmud. So when we are saying, "Oh Imam, come," and we are not performing what is required to reach Maqam Mahmud, fatahajjadu, the tahajjud, the Quran. Habib ibn Mazahir used to finish the whole Quran in 3 days. Habib ibn Mazahir was somebody who was taught the Aql science, Ulum-e Gharibe by Amirul Mu'minin. Habib ibn Mazahir was addressed as a faqih. The other people who were in support of the Imam as well, they were sincere. And as they were sincere, they were raised by the Imam to a higher level, where they become the awliya Allahi wa ahibba'u, where they become the Rabbaniyun. So for us, when we are saying, "Oh Imam, come soon," it requires that sincerity of us, and at the same time, action. We have to act. We have to bring Quran into our life. We have to recite Quran every day. When Habib is finishing Quran in 3 days, the 8th Imam says, Imam Rada alayhi salam, salawat ala Muhammad wa alayhi. I finish Quran in 3 days. However, I can finish in 1 day. But the reason I finish in 3 days is because I contemplate on every verse of the Quran. That's why it takes me 3 days. So if Quran is foreign to us, if we don't understand Quran, then in what capacity we will be the supporter of the 12th Imam? You know, I mentioned the advice of Ayatollah Bahjat, as we have, some of the brothers and sisters who have joined us for tonight. Bahjat says, is there anyone who does not want to see Imam Zaman? We all want to see Imam Zaman. He says, go open the Quran, look at the Quran. When you look at the Quran, it's like looking Imam Zaman's face. So how much of Imam Zaman is in our life? That means how much of Quran is in our life? Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Hence, all human beings in the physical realm are always in conflict. And as a leader or as a follower, they will always be in conflict. As a leader or as follower. Or whether be on the side of the truth or whether be on the side of the falsehood. This conflict will always be there. So that's Muqaddame Awwali, and that's the first premise that I wanted to. So when we understand this war and justice, the cosmological reality of war and justice, then we can appreciate what, the cosmological reality of war and justice, then we can appreciate what justice is. Then we can come to terms or understand what this phenomena of justice is and how it is important. So first we understand what, war and peace is. Now, the second premise, war is nothing but manifestation of mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, war itself. War is a manifestation of mercy of Allah. Because Allah governs the creation with mercy. That's why His name is Rahman. The Quran says, call Him Allah or call Him Rahman. So Allah governs everything, the creation, with His mercy. The creation will cease to exist, will vanish, will go in the state of non-existence if the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not there. Because He is merciful. This means that even hell is because of His mercy, because it exists. From an epistemological point of view, something that is existing is because of mercy of Allah. So when hell is existing, it is because of mercy of Allah. Because eventually after being put in hell, souls will enter paradise. Isn't that mercy? If hell was not there. Even shaitan is because of mercy of Allah. It is out of His mercy. Why shaitan exists? And that's why it is because of mercy. So whatsoever exists is out of His mercy. And what type of mercy? Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there are two types of mercy, or two classification of mercy. One is a universal mercy, which is known as Rahmatul Am, and there's Rahmatul Khas. And Allah have made incumbent, wajib upon Himself to treat and to deal with things with mercy. He will deal with the creation with mercy. As He says in the Quran that, Salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Wa rahmatun wasi'at kulla shay. My mercy encompasses everything that He has created. Everything that has been created, His mercy encompasses it. Not only that, He says that He has taken upon Himself to be merciful. He has taken upon Himself to be merciful. So everything that is there is because of His mercy. And it encompasses His mercy not only there, but He Himself have made it wajib, or in other words, it is in the nature of Allah to be merciful. There is no other way. For example, if there is a peel of a banana, it is in your nature to pick it up. Nobody have taught you that. You don't need to go to a university to learn to pick a peel of a banana. It is in your nature that somebody will fall, you think about it, you are merciful, and you will do that. It is in your nature to do it. It's very impulsive. You know, that's why they say that, oh, why Allah created? Well, He is the creator. If He does not create, then He is not utilizing the art that He has. If somebody drops unconscious here, if there's a doctor, he will just sit and watch? No, he will come and try to rescue the person. He is a doctor for that. When Allah is Khaliq, you know, He will create, and He continuously creates. And He is creating at this very second, new creations. It is very natural. That's how He is. So Allah is merciful by His essence. When He is merciful by His essence means that it is wajib for Him. He has made it wajib for Him to be merciful. So war, which may apparently manifest as or look as, you know, life being gone, people being killed and slain, but that is because of mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the war itself. Now, as we said, there's two types of mercy. One is a mercy which is known as a universal mercy. That is also reflected in a way, Bismillahir Rahman and Rahim. He is Rahman for everyone. Ya man arjuhu li kulli khair, wa amanu sakhatahu inda kulli shar. Ya man yuti al-kasira bil khalil, ya man yuti man lam yas'alahu wa man lam ya'rif. Allah is the one who gives to those who ask, oh Allah give us. Allah is the one who gives to who do not even ask, and who do not even know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but Allah provides to them as well. Why? Because He's merciful. And this is universal mercy. He's merciful to everybody and all creation. And He wants us to be that way as well. That's why Imam Hussein, when Shimr was on the chest of Imam Hussein says, spare my life, don't kill me. Why? Because Imam Hussein is not worried about himself being killed. Imam Hussein is worried about Shimr. Oh Shimr, if you have decided to kill me, give me some water. Does Imam Hussein really want water as such? No. Maybe your azab will lessen if you give me water. Maybe your humanity will be awakened by giving water. Because when you give water, that humanity kicks back. That is a good act. That's giving water. It's very symbolic. Water is life. You know, water brings knowledge. If you dream that you are drinking water, it means you will increase knowledge. If you're swimming, you will increase knowledge. It has very symbolic value. The arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is on water. So, Imam Hussein, when he's asking water, he does not want water. Because we know that the three-headed arrow has been pointed out to his chest, which was dipped in poison, and he's going to die anyways. But he's still asking water. He says, no. Then what did Imam Hussein did? Fatabassama. Imam Hussein smiled. Why? Because smile is an alamat, is a sign of mercy. What do we recite in Jami Kabira of Ziyarat? We say, Assalamu alayka, Assalamu alaikum ya ahlu baytul nabuwa, wa ma'adanur risala, wa mukhtaliful malaika. And we say they are the Omana'ur Rahman. They are the minarets of mercy for the creation. They are mercy for the creation. So they have to behave in a merciful way. That's why he's Rahmatul lil Alameen Rasulullah. Husainu minni wa ana min Husain. So Husain have to behave the same way as Rasul have behaved, which is with mercy. Prophet cries at night, praying for who? For Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab. Why? Because His mercy. So we've been asked the same way, that if we want to be from the ashab of the 12th Imam and followers of Ahl Bayt alayhi salam, we should be merciful to the whole creation. When Ibn Muljim was brought, what did Amirul Mu'minin said? Loosen the rope, feed him, give him food, do not kill him. If you want to kill him, do exactly one strike as he has given him one strike. If he lives with this strike, let him live. That is mercy. So there is a mercy which is aam for everybody. Even the dog comes, Imam Hassan Mushtaba was having food, he offers the food to the dog and they eat together. But how do we behave when the dog comes? We cross the street, hey, najis. So there's some phobia for Muslims. That's what they may say. Muslims have phobia with dogs. When they see the dog, they cross the street. But how Ahl Bayt alayhi salam behaved? A person comes from Sham and bad mouths the mother of Imam Hassan, but he behaved in the most beautiful way. If somebody bad mouths my car, I will break his mouth, leave aside. So that's mercy. So Allah is merciful as an aam, and He wants us to excel in that quality of bringing that rahmah and mercy in us. Then Allah is merciful in terms of khas. If we want to say Rahman and Rahim. Rahim, the Rahimiyat is for the mu'mineen. The Rahmaniyat is for the umum. And the Rahimiyat dictates for him to be hadi, guide. He guides. He appoints masumeen and the imams, which comes from his rahimiyat. If you want to see that Allah is most merciful, Rahman, Rahim, merciful and the most merciful, then we should look at in which camp we are. If we are the imamis, then obviously it is an indication that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Rahim towards us, because He has given us that guidance through which we understand Allah. Through this Rahimiyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we understand what Rahman is. And through Rahman, we understand what Allah is. And at the same time, through Allah, we understand what is the Nukta Tahta Bais. This was another Haidri part here, So, He is merciful as an Am to everybody. With this in mind, we have to see the Battle of Karbala. That's how Imam Hussein was when he fought with them. You have that aspect of the Rahimiyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of the Rahmaniyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the other aspect of Allah being peculiarly or special mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is His Rahimiyat as well, which we say that He has the ghazab, He is the avenger, He is the qahhar. Against what? Against those who are misguided. He manifests that name, which transforms into a conflict, which transforms into a manifestation of a war. Because He wants to stop this polytheism. He wants to get rid of these thorns for the spread of guidance and hidayat and aql. A person who is an intellectual is a muwahid. A person who is a polytheist, there is ignorance. So as He wants to get rid of these thorns, He will manifest His qahariyat, or He will transfer or translate the law of jihad-e-difai or jihad-e-ibtidai. It waters down to that there are two types of war. Either there is defensive war or an offensive war. When David, Dawood alayhi salam or Sulaiman alayhi salam is having an offensive war, that is out of mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in order to get rid of the kufr, in order to get rid of the polytheism. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is having a defensive war, because all of the wars in Islam were defensive. Prophet fought 26 wars in total. And all of these 26 wars were defensive. And I always say it was not 26, it was actually 27. Even the 27th one, which is a war, which is Mubahila. And that was also a defensive war. So Prophet fought this defensive war, which was also, mercy. Whether that be offensive war or defensive war, both of them are out of mercy. Now this offensive war itself is in reality a defensive war. Why? Because it's a preemptive strike against the kufr that is taking place, in order that this kufr be uprooted, so that there be spread of tawheed, so that there be spread of that rahmaniyat. Otherwise there will be taghut, otherwise there will be invitation towards ego, invitation towards polytheism, invitation towards capitalism, invitation towards, feudalship, lordship, you call it, kingship. However, just in the margin, as we've been across our time that we were discussing, we haven't reached justice. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll talk about justice and conclude. However, here we also find that usually Muslim scholars, ulama, they tend to use, when it comes to war, the jihad-e-akbar and the jihad-e-asghar. When the Prophet, people came after fighting, they were tired, they were wounded, and the Prophet says, welcome from jihad-e-asghar, which was that defensive or offensive, whatever you want to call it. Now you have come to the jihad-e-akbar, which is the war with the nafs. That is jihad-e-akbar, that is the greater jihad. So if that Karbala be outside over there, 1,400 years ago, or that Karbala be here, we are either Shimr or we are either Hussein. If Haq wins over falsehood, or if sins and mistakes, arrogance, backbiting, missing Fajr prayers, these things wins, then Shimr is getting stronger. If the truth, light, humility, brotherhood, sisterhood, love, kindness is winning, then Hussein is winning. That's jihad by nafs. However, just very briefly, Ayatollah Jawad Amili, he divides the jihad into three different classifications. He says there's jihad akbar, which is jihad akbar, that you fight the enemy. There's jihad awsat, which is the middle jihad. The middle jihad is actually the jihad with your nafs. And there is jihad asghar, jihad awsat. And then there is jihad akbar. So jihad asghar is the battle, you fight the enemies. Jihad awsat, the middle jihad, is actually fighting with your nafs. But there is jihad akbar, which is actually fight of the heart with the aql. Because in the jihad awsat, the heart have become victorious. Okay, the heart have become victorious in jihad awsat. But now it is in conflict with the aql. The aql says, oh Hussein, you're going. Why are you taking women and children? The aql will say that. But the heart says, no, I'm going to take women and children with me. The heart wins, because heart always have a higher priority. Because the Quran talks about qalb salim. It doesn't talk about aql salim. You know, on the day of judgment, the qalb salim. Ma'ata Allah bi qalb salim in Munajat Shabani as well, in Munajat Amirul Mu'minin as well, we recite that. It is that heart. Because heart have the ability to go higher. When Rasulullah went on Miraj, if aql Rasul is Jibrail, because it is pure an angel, because angels are symbolized as aql in falsafa, in philosophy. If aql of Rasul is Jibrail, it is the heart of Rasul that goes waqana qabi qawsayn aw adna, that goes higher. When the heart travels higher, what does it see? Who is there in the heart of Rasul? Is no one but Ali. That's why when heart travels beyond the Sidratul Muntaha, then it sees Ali. That's the heart. So the jihad akbar, after winning the jihad awsat, after defeating the soul and the nafs, then we enter in the realm of our heart and aql. The heart will have the mukashafa, will see the reality, the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the aql will try to undermine it or calculate it, which we do have to pay heed to a certain degree. But when it reaches to that highest level, it is nothing but the heart. And the story of Karbala is nothing but the story of heart. That's why it moves. That's why you have that love. That's why you have the ishq. The aql, you know, in the poetry of Rumi and Hafiz, and you know that. You know, when it comes to ishq, there is no aql. Ishq is beyond aql. And as a matter of fact, a true ashiq, a true lover, is the most intellectual one as well, because he knows that the ishq will win. Because there is nothing but ishq. Because there is nothing but love. That's why the fourth Imam says, Allah created the creation in the first dua of Saif Sajjadiyah. وَبَعَثَهُمْ فِي طَرِيقِ مُحَبَّتِهِ. He has nominated, or he has placed the creation fi tariq muhabbati, upon the path of love. Halad din illa al-hub, the sixth Imam says, is religion nothing but love. That's what religion is. So the story of Karbala is a story of love. The amount of sacrifices that we see, it is nothing but that love. Love of Hussein is there. John comes into the battlefield, tears his shirt. He says, John, are you crazy? He says, yes, Ana Majnoon al-Hussein. I'm the Majnoon of Hussein. There was not one Hussein who died in Karbala. There were 72 Husseins, because they all have become Hussein, in love of Hussein. So that is love. And when we have that love, we will never forget the beloved. I was listening to a poetry just now, just today, it happened. I forgot the name of the scholar, but he was a great scholar, a great alim, you know. And then he died, and they had made a pact that if you die, you come and tell me, inform me about Barzakh. So when he was buried, they asked me, Man Rabbuk, who is your Rabb? He forgot. All the scholar talked about Tawheed and Jihad Awwal Afsad, the way, But he forgot. That's why talqeen is there. You remind the mayyat, Agha Jawadi says that Imam Khomeini had mentioned in the Dars-e-Akhlaq that when we get buried, that when the angels will come, when we look at the angel, we'll forget everything out of fear. Even what is our Kaaba, even what is our book, what is the name of the Prophet, we will forget even that. So they asked the scholar, who is your Rabb? He said, I don't know. No, who is your Rasul? He said, I don't know. Who is your Imam? He says, I don't know, but I remember that there was a leader who I loved the most, and that was Hussein. So this Hussein of ours, right from that, my grandmother, marhuma, she used to say, Machli ke bacche ko tirna kaun sikhata hai? Who teaches the baby of the fish to swim? So when we bring our babies here, 4-month-old, 6-month-old, not automatically, Hussein, right? So this is the value of Hussein. This is the love of Hussein, which is placed in our heart. May Allah bless our seniors, our elders, our brothers, our community members. I myself remember that, I understood nothing as such, but what I remember is doing matam with the youth here. When we used to rent place on Tali Road and other places. Matam was the most favorite thing. So that love of Hussein is there, and it's very important to protect that love. And we have to increase this love. And this love will bring that ma'rifat, that understanding. Abdullah ibn Afif, who fought with Imam Ali alayhi salam in the battle of Siffin and also in the battle of Jamal. In one battle, he lost one eye. In the other battle, he lost the other eye. And he was the first shaheed after Karbala in Kufa. When the caravan was brought to Kufa and they were the prisoners, and Ibn Ziyad gave a khutbah, gave a sermon, and he said how Amirul Mu'mineen Yazid won over the liars, or the enemies of Allah. Then Abdullah ibn Afif, who was the companion of Amirul Mu'mineen, and he was old, and he was in Kufa, and he couldn't join Imam Hussein alayhi salam because he was blind. So Abdullah ibn Afif stood up and he says, "Oh Ibn Ziyad, you know what you're saying? You're saying that the grandson of the Prophet is the enemy of Allah? I myself have heard that Rasul have said that Al-Hasan wal Hussein Sayyida Shabab Ahl al-Jannah. And you're saying he's the enemy of Allah. So you, curse be upon you. Amirul Mu'mineen is no one but Ali." And then as he was blind, he asked his daughter to help. He took a sword and he started fighting and he wanted to attack Ibn Ziyad. And his daughter was helping Abdullah ibn Afif where the enemy is coming from. Father, the enemy is coming from the right. He would take his sword towards the right. And from the left. And while fighting, he was slain and killed. He was the first shaheed after the Ahl Bayt alayhi salam, after the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. So you see how the uprising started, how the awareness started among the people of Kufa, and then after that till Sham. The great uprising of Mukhtar takes place. But tonight, we want to dedicate the Masaib of the burial of Abba Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, which took place miraculously. There was a sect known as Waqifiyye, the one who stopped. At the time of the 7th Imam, they believed till the 7th Imam and they stopped. They don't believe in the Imamat of the 8th Imam. They came to the 8th Imam and they said that we don't believe in the Imamat. Why? Because you did not, because the 7th Imam was in prison when he was killed. And he was in Baghdad and you were in Medina. Who prayed? Because an Imam should be praying on Imam. Who prayed on the 7th Imam? Then here this narration comes. That, do you believe in the 4th Imam? They said yes. Do you believe in my Jad, in my grandfather who was slain in Karbala? He said yes. Do you believe that his body was lying under the sun for 2 days without any shroud? Without, as the 12th Imam says, it's very difficult to recite the Jumla, but however it's in Ziyarat-e-Nahiya, my salam is to the Imam, my salam is to that Shaheed who have nothing over his body. And who came to bury my Jad? It was the 4th Imam who came miraculously in the plain of Karbala. As he came to the grave, to the body of his father, he was the only one who places the body of Imam Hussein in the grave. And then after that, he goes to the body of Ali Akbar. How he would have felt looking at the body of Ali Akbar. As we all know that all of the heads were slain. All of the heads were severed and taken by the army of Omar Saad. And he looks at the wound of the heart of Ali Akbar alayhi salam. And then he buries Ali Akbar at the feet of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And then he approaches to a small little grave which was digged by the father behind the tents. And he goes to the body of Ali Asghar, the little Ali Asghar, and he places Ali Asghar on the chest of Hussein. And then he buries Imam Hussein alayhi salam in this fashion, and he writes on the grave that Hada qabru Husaynun qatala atshana. This is the grave of Hussein who was slain while he was thirsty. After that, the Bani Asad, the people, they came and they said that, oh Imam, there's a body near the Euphrates. We don't know who it belongs to. We are trying to lift that body. We cannot lift that body. Because when we lift the body, the feet falls down or the hands fall down. Then Imam Sajjad says that that is the body of my chacha, of my uncle Abbas. Let me come there. Imam Zainul Abidin comes to the body of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam and looks at the body. And then he buries the hands and feet in that one body. There's been mentioned that there was a body, there was a man who was tall and big. But when you look at his grave is very short and small. He buries Abul Fazl Abbas alayhi salam. And then he returns back to the prison of Sham, to the prison of Kufa. Allah lanatullah ala qawm al-zalimin sayalamu alladhina zalamu ayyi munqalibin yanqalibun matam Hussein. Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein.
Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein. بأبي أنت وأمي يا أبا عبد الله بأبي أنت أنت وأمي يا أبا عبد الله بأبي أنت وأمي يا أبا عبد الله بأبي أنت وأمي يا أبا Allah, my Sakina, come to me, my sweet. Come and give your father a kiss on his cheek, my sweet. I only hope you will find a way up to me here. Look above you, I head on a spear. بأبي أنت وأمي يا أبا عبد الله 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 بأبي أنت وأمي يا Dillah. Oh my father, be you proud of me. Yesterday in Karbala, Akbar became Shaheed. Don't you worry anymore, I'm now so happy here, comfortably resting upon the tip of this spear. Baby anta wa ummi ya Aba Abdillah, 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 Baby أنت وأمي يا عبد الله بأبي أنت وأمي يا La, my Sakina, how you need to rest. Let Father lull you asleep, put your head on my chest. Just forgive me, for I cannot kiss you, stroke your head. Look away, please look away, they have taken my head. Baby, anta wa ummi ya Aba Abdillah, Baby, anta wa ummi ya Aba Abdillah, Baby, أنت وأمي يا أبا عبد الله بأبي أنت وأمي يا أبا عبد الله بأبي أنت وأمي عبد الله بأبي أنت وأمي Dillah. Lady Zahra, Abbas tried his best. I guarded Mawla Hussein while I could without rest. Now I am helpless, there's one request I have you with. Take some water to him, I have no arms to hold with. Baby anta wa ummi ya Aba Abdillah, 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 Baby anta wa ummi ya Aba Baby anta wa ummi Dillah. Ya Ibrahim, your patience you were. How difficult it must have been, you never wavered. It was so hard that you covered your eyes with a cloth. But when Akbar returned lifeless, Hussein had no cloth. Baby anta wa ummi ya Aba Abdillah, 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 Baby anta wa ummi ya La, Baby anta wa ummi Dillah. Oh my Asghar, how you cry, my sweet. How Father's heart is breaking to see you in this heat. Don't worry, Father has something that will quench your thirst. Drink this three-headed arrow, it will quench your thirst. Baby anta wa ummi ya Aba Abdillah, 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 Baby anta wa ummi Dillah, Baby anta wa ummi. Take me to Karbala, leave me there. Take me to Karbala, leave me there. Take me to Karbala, leave me there, leave me there. Take me to Karbala, leave me there. Take me to Karbala, leave me there. Take me to Karbala, leave me there, leave me there. Hussein, bye. Hussein, bye. Hussein, bye. Hussein, bye. صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا حبيب الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد المرسلين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى حسين وعلى التسعة المعصومين من ذريته.